Okay, can everyone see that? Okay, fantastic.
Yes.
Oof. Okay. So for our class task, we partnered with the We Squared program it's a national program, so it's out of Rutgers. And we helped with, coordinating some of their events, and we hosted our own. Sorry about my cat. So this was Brooke and I that worked on this. So the We Squared program it stands for Women for Energy Efficiency. So it's WE and then another E, so it's squared. It's a program mainly targeted at women to connect them to each other and help bridge the gap between students and professionals. But all the programming is for women and allies. So that is everyone here, because everyone's either a woman or an ally, hopefully. And so it's really cool. They do a few programs that are like main programs. Then they also I believe they hosted the game night, so there's the mentorship program, which I have a mentor, Brooke has a mentor. It's really nice because we get to connect with people in the industry to get some advice and feedback on like what we're doing, what we could be doing to help develop our careers in the way we want to go. There's also the book club, which their first event was about Lean In by Sheryl Sandberg, which is a great book. And basically it's just a time to discuss books that lead into a conversation about, women in engineering or just women in business or just engineering or business, and yeah, the connection's really great. My last year's mentor was the nicest lady. She helped me to figure out what direction, I wanted to start taking classes and what I should be looking for for future development for me. Brooke will talk about why we do this.
Yeah, so there's a couple reasons why we're hoping to host these events. Like we hosted a movie night and we're planning on hosting another. One of the big ones is that this year has been kind of rough for a lot of people. So a lot of students have been struggling with anxiety and depression, and especially international students are susceptible to isolation. So we're hoping that events like these can help provide some community to students, not just in this chapter, but in other chapters across the nation, to know that there's other people that they can reach out to and that they can have fun and be social and have that social interaction, even if we can't physically be present in together with other people. So that's one of the goals of these events, especially the more social events that we've been having. And other events with that include potentially networking with other IAC students across the country. So we're hoping to be able to increase the connections that we have. So we know people from Miami, we know people from Dayton, and we know people from Rutgers, and students can have someone to reach out to if they have, a question about an AR or are looking for some different ideas on what they can do to move the IAC forward. And also some of the events that Julie was doing in the summer, we're hoping to continue, and we've tried to continue, which are really great events that had speakers, professional speakers who could share experiences they've had in the engineering workplace and how they were able to arrive at their success and any insights that they've gained from it. So these are also really great events for professional development currently, so that we can all improve ourselves as working engineers and also students, and also have connections in the future. It's really good, I think, to have friends in the IEC across the country, especially as, these students will graduate and get jobs and places. It's good to know where IEC students are being employed and what opportunities they're finding, because that can open opportunities for us as well. And then next slide.
Okay, so an event that was hosted by us, as opposed to just the We Squared helping with one of their events, was we had a movie night in October. It was on a Saturday at 1 p.m. here time. So it's not a great time, but it is hard because we're trying to plan something that everyone across the nation can come to. And so you'll see even on our flyer, we listed out 3 time zones so that people would figure out what time zone they need to show up. And honestly, the Saturday we thought it would be great because it would be casual and we could watch something kind of Halloweeny, but not like a Halloween movie. And we just had 5 attendees. So it was a great proof of concept, but of course we would have liked to see more people. But yeah, as Brooke was saying, we had a student from Dayton, a student from Miami, and then Sarah Neese from Rutgers, who we've been working with a lot because she is one of the main leaders in the We Squared program. So she's our main contact there. And it was good to be able to chat and, have some fun and watch a movie. And we did get feedback from those students that they would have liked to see more people there, chat with more people across the country. And so we're trying to do it again and see if it works better. And so Brooke will talk about what we've changed to hopefully do a little better this time.
Yeah, hopefully you've seen this. I know I've seen this on LinkedIn, this flyer, but we're hoping to get it spread out even more. This Friday, it's at 4 p.m. our time. I know that's right, kind of in finals, but one of the things we're doing differently about this movie night is that it's going to be shorter. So the Challenger, the final flight, it's just a 40-minute, the start of a mini series about the Challenger. And I think most people know what happened with the Challenger when, spoiler alert, it blew up. So we can talk about, hopefully have a discussion after we watch the first of the series. And I know for sure there'll be definitely a lot of things to talk about. There's a lot of ethics that went into this, ethical questions that were raised, and questions on, what this means for engineering and also for the future of space, which is really useful. I think just a fun thing to talk about. So we're hoping to have this movie that will be more substantive and more interesting, hopefully, for engineers. So please come. We would love to have more attendees and have more support, especially from you guys. Fun fact we learned from Sarah is that attending events like these actually gives this IAC chapter points for the IAC Chapter of the Year award. So it shows like some investment in the IAC program in general and some basically extracurricular activity that you're doing. So we'd love to see more people come, but also don't stress if you just can't make it, because we don't want anyone to be a problem for anyone, but we would love to see more people and have more participation in this activity. So let us know if you're coming and we'll send you the details, and please invite anyone and everyone you think might be interested in this event so we can increase the networking and the connections that are going on.
Okay, so in addition to the movie nights, we did try and reach out to lots of professionals, mostly via LinkedIn, because it's where we're connected with them. We really wanted to continue the speaker series, but it was hard because we reached out to a lot of people, but a lot of people are pretty busy, or they don't necessarily want to talk to a student about what they're doing, or they just didn't see our messages, so we got no responses. We had no speakers, unfortunately. We did try pursuing contacts from different events, but yeah, nothing came of any of that, which was kind of heartbreaking because we really liked the summer programming. We wanted to see more like that going forward, but it didn't pan out. So, Brooke, lessons learned.
Yeah, so while it was kind of frustrating and heartbreaking to not get any responses, we did learn from it. One is it kind of just showed us more of why this type of activity is important. There is a bit of a gap between professionals and students because, we're just not working, and sometimes professionals are professionals. They're busy. They're working on stuff. They have a lot of people asking them for a lot of things. So we recognize that they're probably getting a lot of messages from a lot of students and asking for stuff. And I guess we kind of realized that we were doing that same thing. We're asking for stuff from them. And instead of doing that, going and trying to make a connection with someone we don't really know and asking them for something, we'd like to do it a little bit differently and change the way we're networking and connecting with people. So we're hoping to start with focusing on established contacts we already have, even though they may be few in number, like the mentors that Tess and I have. Hopefully that can lead to further contacting and networking, and also potentially some of these professional development events. And once we get at least one started, we'll be able to invite some of these people that we've been wanting to contact, invite them to the event to, instead of asking them for something, share something with them, something that will be mutually beneficial and that they can see how this is a really great event and a really great opportunity for them to, you know, potentially find people to recruit in the future or to find new ways of doing things. So it's beneficial for everybody. And this is something where we could definitely use everybody's help here because we're just two students and we don't know a ton of people. But if any of you guys know someone or someone that you worked with at a previous internship you think might be interested in any of these sorts of events, we would love to hear from them and we'd love to include them in these so that you can, one, build that relationship with them, and also you can share that relationship with your fellow IAC students. So we'd love to hear from anybody if they have even like a family member who is successful in something and has things that they'd like to share. Just let us know if you hear anything, and feel free to feel free to talk about it with them and talk about it with us if you have any ideas on networking with professionals, because it's going to take more than just us two to be able to help bridge that gap between students and professionals. And with that, we actually have just a couple questions and feedback we'd like to get from you guys, just on what you've seen, the timing of events, what times work for you. We know that we're not going to be able to get a time that works for everybody, but it's good to know in general what times are better, like a weekday or a weekend, or what type of event you'd like to see, or any of your thoughts on networking, or what type of event, professional development event, would be helpful for you or would you like to see happen. So if you guys have any thoughts, we'll open the board to you to share, and I promise I'll take notes.
So I guess I'll be the first one to speak up. I have to say, I think that networking is a great thing to do for all the reasons that you guys listed. You know, it's great to get the exposure and, you know, learn about what others are doing. But at the same time, I can't help but feel that some of these relationships are a little bit superficial, you know? I mean, it's definitely great for your personal development and all, but I'm a little skeptical when people say that, you know, it's super important to do networking. I mean, I'm personally of the belief it's better to have like really good relationships with a few people than like sort of relationships with a lot of people. I mean, could you respond to that? Maybe convince me otherwise. I'd like to be convinced otherwise.
Well, I like that comment because there's some truth to it. Like, if you have superficial relationships with a lot of people, when you're unemployed and you're asking for a job, if they don't really know you or have a deep relationship, why would they invest in you? So we're hoping that with events like these, it can foster an opportunity to build deeper relationships with people, to have more than just, oh, I saw you at an event once, but rather, hey, we invited you to an event and then we worked with you to create another event and we expanded your circle of friends and the people that you know. So you're right, like having deeper relationships is important, but being able to connect and talk to people is useful as well, even if it might not be this person's going to get you a job. Still having that relationship connection can lead to further connections that might lead to something else, if that makes sense.
I do want to say that how I see the events is an opportunity to meet new people, and then it's actually up to you if you see something that interests you to reach out to them and say, hey, I'm interested in your work, I'd love to talk to you about it, and then build that deeper connection. But there's no way we can give you a deeper connection or host an event where everyone at the end is best friends, but we can bring a lot of people and like give you the opportunity to meet people in different fields. Brooke was saying earlier that she talked to a lawyer that she met at one of these events because she thought law was interesting, and that wouldn't have happened without a networking event. And whether or not that relationship goes further, that's not part of the event. That's just up to her and the lawyer.
Yes, that's great, Tess.
That was a great response. I'm convinced.
Can I give an example? When I was in my undergrad, I was looking through things I wanted to do after graduation, and I looked up some alumni that were doing research and things into things that I wanted to do, and I called one of these alumni just to ask them about their job and about their research, and it turned out that alumni, his name is Dr. Wesley Cole, and it turns out that he did his PhD with Dr. Powell, same professor down there in Texas. And that, I mean, that was a good connection for me, got me interested to go look at what Dr. Powell was doing. And so just things like that, where you're just trying to meet people, learn about what they like, learn about what other people like, just helps you find out where you want to go. Because honestly, you're not expected right now to know exactly which job you want in after graduation. That's something that's rare and very unlikely. So learning about what other people do is a great thing to open your horizons and see what's out there.
I would definitely, I love what you guys are doing. I think it's awesome. And I like that you have an attitude of, if an event doesn't go perfectly, well, let's just try and adapt and try and figure out something else that works. I would say when I was a student and I was involved with the AICHE, we were always trying to plan like fun social things and to varying degrees of success. And they were good activities sometimes. But then the way AICHE has morphed over the years, they're very much more focused on helping students with networking and getting jobs. And I just think that's so much more valuable. So I don't know that I have any particular thoughts. Maybe some ideas would be, maybe we could do like some kind of virtual career fair or something, or like a speed networking thing. I don't know. I like the effort, and I think just doing things to build any kind of connections are good. I don't think there's no bad that comes from any of this.
Yeah, and Brooke and Tess, there are a couple engineers that I worked with earlier this year that I think would be super excited about this. So I will reach out to those two engineers and see what they say and let you know.
Awesome, thank you.
I think a really good card to pull when doing this is that you are going to the University of Utah and trying to find alumni. Like, people always want to help out people that are in the shoes that they were in. Mm-hmm. So saying like, hey, I know you went to the U and you studied, engineering, and I'm here studying engineering just like you did at the U. Can you want to tell me about what you're doing? People love to give back to the school that gave them where they're at right now. So it's a good card to pull.
It's a great idea. Thank you.
I just have a few comments on I guess like the first bullet point, the timing of events. So in my experience with like helping run my club, mm-hmm. In general, weekend events just don't gain as much traction as events during the week. And I feel like generally people just want to, take their minds off of school and anything related to it during the weekend.
Yeah.
So we've had more success doing events during the week. We've had success on Wednesday afternoons and Friday afternoons, just as suggestions, but.
Okay, cool. Sweet.
Brooke, I'm curious to follow up on Nasser's comment there. That was when you all agreed to take this responsibility on, that was a shift in thinking compared to what I was thinking about with timing events, mostly because I was thinking of them within the professional hours. So I'm just curious, it's interesting to hear your kind of reflections now on that timing. I'm curious what you were thinking when you first made that decision to try it out.
Yeah, the biggest thing we were thinking about, because we were working with Sarah, so she's in Rutgers, so she's in New York, so totally different time zone. We kind of wanted it to be later because we thought people might be done, but if we do it too late, then for them it's like 8 o'clock and they're like, I'm ready to go to bed and I'm ready to like eat dinner or something like that. So that's part of why it's really tricky to time these events, because it just kind of sucks for everybody. It's kind of a crappy time for everyone. So it's going to be a little bit earlier than we'd like for us, but also a little bit later, maybe for Rutgers. So we're hoping that with having more events that, it's hit and miss. Some people can make one, some people can make another. And that's why we've been trying to change things too.
So one follow-up question on that. And by the way, thank you for doing this. Dr. Powell's point and the point you guys made. I definitely think activities like this elevate the University of Utah on the national stage for the IAC program. So for many reasons, I'm really thankful for your efforts here. The other thing I was going to ask you is, over the summer, we pretty much did these events as the University of Utah events and invited other people as the network kind of built out. And then you guys now in the fall have tried doing more of a collaborative thing. Do you have thoughts on different or better direction, for kind of like the scope and who's leading, and is it too complicated to try to make a national effort? That kind of, I'm just curious about your thoughts in that area.
Absolutely.
We definitely, we've run into a few times we were like, oh, this day would be really great for an event. And because it's at the national scale, Sarah says, oh, we have an event the week before, you shouldn't do that, that's too soon. And so I think the scheduling's definitely been a lot harder because we're trying to fit it into a program of events instead of just making our own, like a monthly thing where it just happens when it happens. And also, I kind of think that it would have been nice if we could connect a lot of our U of U group to the national group, just because, we're all women in engineering and allies, because we like allies too. And so it would have been nice if we could just have everyone join together, but it is interesting to see how people kind of identify with one group or the other, and they don't really have a lot of crossover.
Yeah, it's definitely worth looking at to see if it would be more successful as just the Utah chapter trying to increase professional development with like Utah professionals, like people who are closer and a little bit more in the same situation or in a closer situation as us. So it could definitely be helpful to have at least some events, possibly like the professional development events be possibly more Utah focused. I do think the social events are kind of helpful, including more of the ISA students for the purpose of community during this kind of stinky time. And also, I do think it's helpful. I mean, I don't know if, a working person who just spent all day working is going to want to come play games with some student who's still in their undergrad or something like that. So yeah, I think we could probably pursue like a combination of the two. Any other comments from anyone? If not, and if you have some later, you are more than welcome to reach out to Tess or I, and we would love to get any input from anybody. But thanks for listening to us.
One quick comment and maybe question is on, this is probably harder to do at the national scale, but on a local scale, have you guys considered teaming up with like AICHE or SWE to do like get involved in like the industry dinner they do or other networking things? I think there's definitely strength in numbers, and maybe we could do some meaningful things, networking things here locally if we teamed up with other organizations.
Yeah, I think we've thought about it, but we haven't pursued it by any means. So it was like, maybe we could do that, but then that wasn't what we pursued. But that's definitely something we'll look at, because that could be a really good idea for us to do.
Are any of you members of SWE?
I'm not. I know I'm a member of AICHE, but I'm not like signed up member of SWE by any means.
Okay. It might be good to get, I mean, we have, well, Ari, the AICHE president, is a former IAC person, and she's awesome. And then SWE does this industry networking dinner. Like, I think they do it every semester. That's really awesome. It'd be nice if some of you got involved in both organizations and there could be a little bit of synergy there. I don't know exactly what, but I think certainly the IAC could help bring in this energy efficiency world into those SWE events, and I think it could have a lot of potential benefits.
Cool. Awesome. Thank you.
I know we had she's so nice. She was willing to help advertise our event for us. So she did help with that, but I think it'd be great to reach out to her and foster a closer connection.
I just wanted to ask if you guys could just send out the invitation broadly in like a Slack channel.
Yep.
Thanks.
Do that. Oh, and I think Anne asked if we need Netflix or other streaming service to participate in the movie nights. Yes, you do, unfortunately. But if you guys don't, kind of let me know and we can figure something out, because we're looking at finding like a different way of streaming it. But right now it's Netflix dependent. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you, Tess and Brooke. Appreciate it. And I think we'll transition over to Andrew now for our second presentation today.